EQUITES Promoti, a very interesting unit to say the least. Available to the Eastern and Western Roman empires, these units can potentially be cavalry killers. They have some hidden strengths, but also have their own set of weaknesses, which I will examine in this episode. These units cost 675 talents and are a tier 2 medium melee cavalry. Their melee attack and weapon damage stats at 48 and 32 respectively, of which 8 is armor piercing, are par for the course, maybe even a little underwhelming. They do wield a spear in melee, however, which gives them a 20 bonus versus cavalry and forms a big part of their offensive capabilities. Their charge bonus at 48 is average, but combining that with their below average mass, a melee cavalry unit for 675 talents should be heavy cavalry, and you have a unit that tends to underperform on the charge as compared to its barbarian counterparts. Their melee defense, while seeming low on paper, is actually higher than most other melee cavalry of its class, although the difference is very small. These units wear mail armor, however, it is pretty poor with a value of 38, and a shield value of only 15 is much lower than units like the Germanic horsemen, which have a better armor value due to better shields. This also ties into their rather weak missile block chance. The EQUITES Promoti have only a 25% chance to block missiles, while most other melee cavalry of its class have around a 40% chance to block missiles. Their health, again, is nothing to write home about at 217. Units that cost less, like the Germanic horsemen, have higher health stats along with their better armor, which ensures that they have better staying power. The morale of these units is quite low for their price as well, and the fact that they do not have the encourage or discipline trait is very, very disappointing. When going into a cavalry battle, these units can turn on the diamond formation, which increases their charge speed by 50% and their shield defense by 15 points. However, this comes at a cost of reducing movement speed by 10% and completely removing their chance to block missiles. Perhaps the biggest cost of this ability, though, is the fact that it takes 7 whole seconds to fully activate, which is longer than the 5 seconds needed for wedge, and this makes this ability of questionable value. However, if you activate it successfully, you will see a marked improvement in the unit's performance against enemy cavalry. So, on paper, the EQUITES Promoti seem to lack the strength that makes its barbarian counterparts so useful in battle. However, they do have one very interesting tool that can help them. These units have access to 2 deadly precursor Javelin Volleys. With a missile damage of 100, split 50-50 between base and armor piercing damage, these javelins sound deadly already. That's not the end of it though. The javelins also carry with it a whopping 30 bonus versus cavalry and elephants. No other unit in the game has access to precursors this deadly, which is a great, unique touch given to these units that separates them from all the other melee cavalry in the game. In the current state of Total War Attila, there are very few cavalry units that are not worth it. The EQUITES Promoti is definitely not one of them, even though it does disappoint in a few fronts. At the end of the day, it is a decent aggressive unit with some very special precursor javelins. Recommended upgrades? None. These units are expensive, and upgrading them would not improve the areas where they are truly lacking, namely their health and their armor. Recommended role? Frontline cavalry killers. Recommended number? 2 for the Eastern Roman Empire. The Tagmata cavalry are a much better option right now, so bring them instead. 4 for the Western Roman Empire. Mix some of these units up with the more defensive Scholae Palatinae for a deadly cavalry force. My name is Blademaster. This has been another episode of the Unit Review series. Hope you enjoyed it and stay tuned for more. Peace.